All right, so let's dive in. Megan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, awesome. Hi, guys. My name is Megan, and like Brendan said, I'm a senior engagement analyst at Element 451. Dabble in the insights dashboards with my friends Timothy and Jamie, but do a little bit of everything, and I'm really excited to talk to you about campaign building today.
Yes, and I'm the Chief Design Officer, so my job is to try to figure out the types of solutions that you all need within the platform to do your jobs really, really well. And campaigns has always been at the heart of what Element does because it's one of the main interfaces by which you all are going to communicate with your audience. And so that's one of the first areas where we focused when it came to building our AI suite. So at Engage last year, we showed the initial Copilot campaign builder, which was at that point in very much an alpha type of stage. We've been iterating on that this whole year, and we want to show you how that workflow has progressed and where it's at now, how you can use it, and some additional tips and tricks to make your campaigns better.
All right, so the agenda today, we're going to talk about the initial problem we're seeing with campaign building. Then we're going to go into our solution and what we're providing. We'll do a little bit of a demo because everyone likes to see the product in action. And then we'll give you some best tips and tricks to walk away so you have some tangible things to do after this. All right, so let's start with the problem. I just want to quickly thank my CMO group. CMO is my alma mater. I got to talk to them a little bit before this to kind of learn about what it takes to build a campaign from scratch. So the problem that I kind of saw we were talking through is it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of people, and you get a lot of opinions. So the steps along the way, you are first getting the go-ahead. You're getting the topic, the task, the assignment. And as you're building your content, you got to make sure the facts are correct. You have to make sure the branding is on point. The tone is going to get people entertained. They're going to open the email. But then once you get into that design phase, there's a lot of back and forth. Tweak this wording. That's not the right deadline date. And it's a lot of back and forth. Then before you are ready to send it off, now you got to think, when's the best time to send this campaign? Is it at 2 a.m. when they're playing video games? Or is it in the afternoon when they're in school? So a lot of thoughts, ideas, you have to ruminate, you have to discuss, back and forth. It takes like almost 3 weeks. It's insane.
Yeah, so anytime you have communication between different people, there's inevitable latency. You have to wait for meetings and scheduling and so on. And then additionally, this traditional workflow, it relies on the fact that there is someone within a team who can do this work, which isn't always the case, especially if you're working in smaller groups. So this is how we've kind of compressed the process using our AI suite. The initial stages when it comes to planning and drafting and making the initial kind of skeleton for a campaign, it can now be entirely powered by Bolt AI. And that leaves you as the sender responsible basically for revising and refining that work that the AI tool is doing as a starting place. So this saves you a tremendous amount of time because you don't need to go into the email editor and make every single email yourself. You can rely on the AI to do that, but you can still end up with the exact campaign that you want because you have full creative control and all the tools at your fingertips.
Something with the solution that I just love is when this whole AI conversation was brought up a year or so ago, it was, hey everyone, get a ChatGPT account and talk to it for a bit. And I feel like when I use these tools now, I find myself having 5 or 6 tabs open, different conversations going on with these chatbots. And so something with the Element 451 solution is you don't have to leave your Element instance. The AI program already knows your branding. It already knows what pictures you guys are using. So you don't have to have your ChatGPT tab open and feeding it, hey, so I'm writing an email to some students. This is what it's about. Here's the knowledge base. It's already connected in Element, so you're not having to leave the page and feed it all of this information to build off of. It's already there.
Yeah, and that's something we want to continue to lean into as we develop the product, is to make all of the communication tools, but specifically campaigns, as smart as possible so that it can actually adapt relative to who it's communicating with and who's actually on the other end of that email. Because we know that personalization makes all the difference in conversion rates and you actually achieving your goals. Okay, so we'll switch over to a demo. We're going to walk through kind of the basic process of creating a campaign with AI. We can always go back at the end and dig in on other details if you have specific questions as well. So I'll pull up the demo here, but we would love to have a topic from the audience, something that is a problem that one of your institutions might be facing that you could envision being solved with a campaign. But it doesn't have to be something simple. It can be something more challenging.
What are you avoiding doing this week that you need to get done? Anyone? Not showing up to visit events? Okay, awesome.
Perfect, I love that. Okay.
Do you have a specific event in mind? Okay, and then? Perfect. She said a senior and parent visit day, so a tour on campus.
Okay, great. So I just started here by going into Element and then opening up this sidebar, formerly known as Copilot. We're consolidating everything into the Bolt AI assistance naming framework. And so this is what you'll see now in your sidebar if you go in there. And in order to get started with building a campaign, you can just basically tell Copilot exactly what you want to make. So I need to put my mic down so I can type at one time. Remind me what the event was again?
A tour visit with senior and parent. All right, so Ty is typing. Can you give me some ideas to use a campaign to increase student attendance for an event? A campus tour. There you go.
Senior and parent. Sorry, my memory is usually a little better, but I'm trying to talk and type and do all that at once. Okay, great. And we wanted to start here because I think a lot of people are using the Copilot sidebar, the Bolt AI sidebar, to actually make campaigns, but coming with their own ideas. And one thing that we wanted to highlight is that the campaign assistant is actually really good at helping to come up with ideas for campaigns. So if you have a problem, like if you have some sort of issue that you're trying to solve, you don't necessarily need to know how you want to use a campaign to solve it. You can actually just ask the AI, and the AI is trained on higher ed best practices for how to use these types of communications.
Writer's block is no longer an excuse. All right, so it gave a few points, and Ty let it know, yep, that sounds great. Make it fun. So you can give it a tone, give it some feedback of what direction you want to go into, and it'll take that and start asking a few more questions if it needs to.
And one thing I want to note is that the campaign assistant always looks for some specific information from you in order to intelligently create the campaign that it thinks will be best for your use case. But it can also make guesses. So if you were to go to the campaign assistant and have no information and no ideas, it will just do its best based off of best practices and what it thinks about the context and the situation. But you can also give it specific instructions. So if you want to have 10 emails in your campaign and no SMS, you can do that or whatever. But you can also just proceed with its recommendations in general. Also, I made a typo, and I love that the Bolt AI assistants know how to deal with my typos, because I just fire away.
This isn't going to the students, so it's okay.
So yeah, it looks like we're looking for the event date, location, and so on, so I'm going to provide that. So here, now that the campaign assistant has all the information that it needs, it's generating an outline. And the outline is a quick overview of the entire campaign and what is going to be involved in that campaign. So it's not actually building the communications yet. It's giving you the framework to show you what it would build if you say OK.
Are you impressed? I see some like, whoa. Yeah, it's nice.
I thought it might have said something funny. I wasn't sure. Is it? Okay,
No, it's
good.
really cool.
And so once it gives you that outline, you can tell it, looks good, go ahead. You can also give it feedback. I maybe should have done that to show you, but you can tell it, the campaigns don't seem, or the communications don't seem detailed enough, or they don't seem fun enough, or could we swap that SMS and that email? And the AI is intelligent enough to respond to basically any input that you give it, and it's going to do its best to give you something that you're happy with. Once you actually go ahead and tell it to make the campaign, it's going to use that final outline that you kind of negotiated with it, and it will actually generate those communications, and that's what you can see here.
And I just want to highlight that it made all three of those on top of each other at the same time. So if it was just you on the keyboard, you have to do 1, finish, 2, finish, 3. So this is doing all 3 at once, so you can have so many emails made in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, and another thing that I love about the way that the AI works here is that it knows the context of each communication within the sequence, right? So it knows that this last email is a reminder, and it's anticipating that the recipient has already gotten emails and input about this event. So it can lead with something like time is running out. So as you can see, you can just click on the individual communications in the sidebar, and then they will come up in the main area. And then from there, you can edit this email as if you had put it together yourself. So I'll go into that editing mode now. So down here, you can see the normal email editing interface. Sorry, I'm having trouble scrolling here, but you get the idea. So you can go in and you can make all of your normal text edits that you may want to do. There are also the Copilot text editing features here, where if you select text, you can modify it by changing the tone, shortening it, lengthening it, and so on. You can even translate into multiple languages. And in fact, you can use the sidebar to generate communications in multiple languages if that's something you need to do as well. So in this case, maybe we want to just make this a little bit more rich, so we can just expand it. And you can see it kind of blurs out the content momentarily, and then comes back with an extended version of that same idea. So all the other editing tools you'll be familiar with from editing emails in the past. But one new thing that we are adding soon is the ability to add what we call an AI block. And an AI block is going to be a new part of your email where instead of saying what you want to go into the email, the piece of text you want in the email, you can actually provide an AI prompt, and then we will run that prompt as you're sending the email so that each recipient is getting a personalized AI-driven version of that communication. So that's something to look out for, more information from us in coming weeks and months. But that will give you even more ability to personalize and customize the emails based on intelligent AI. So, and then one other trick that I want to show off that we just recently released is that in the sidebar, you're now able to search for media that you have uploaded for your school. So what we're doing now is that when you have images within your school, those are getting sort of ingested by the AI to the point that the AI understands what's in those images. So you can actually ask for an image that has a certain type of content. So I'll demonstrate that now.
And while he's pulling that up, I get it that robots can be scary. So it's kind of nice that you still have this check and balance system. You're able to go in, tweak the wording a little bit, fact check it. It's not a full-on commit and send to the student. So you still have the ability to edit as little or as much as you want.
Yeah, we always view these tools as a way to expedite and enhance and empower you as the creatives. We want to put you in the position where you're not spending all day clicking, you're spending your day talking to people, understanding what they need, coming up with the right strategy and the message, and the AI is taking care of the nitty-gritty stuff that used to take up your day. So you can see here, I asked the AI for an image of a building, and it came up with these examples that came from the media library. And it actually gives a little bit of a description of the images here as well, so you can get a little bit more insight. But one way this can be really useful with email is if you actually go into edit an image, you can pull the URL of one of these images directly into the sidebar here. So all I did was I just clicked the image and then replaced it, and voila, we have a new image in our email. So you can use the AI tool not only to generate the email in the first place, it will do its best to pick an image, but then from there, if you're not happy with that image, you can search your own library for an image that might be a better fit and replace it. Sure, yeah, briefly. So yeah, I can't remember exactly the different ingestion methods, so I'll have to check in on that. But in terms of actually looking at the image, it's going to actually process the image and understand what's in it, first and foremost. And of course, it also has access to all the metadata that's associated with that image too. At that point, once you have your campaign, you have your communications, you're ready to send, then you need insights because you need to know what actually happened with that email or that communication after it got sent. So Megan's going to talk through some of how that works and demonstrate a little bit.
Right, okay. Yeah, so you sent out an email, maybe it was the last recruitment cycle, you have your 1, 2, 3, and now we're at the new recruitment cycle and we're trying to see, how can we improve these emails? You need to see those metrics, that feedback, to understand, okay, what had the high open rate, or what had the click-through, what was working. And we have a great tool that my team has created, the Campaigns Insights dashboard. Oh, this is fun. All right, so we're going to head to Data and Automations. And I already know this is going to be a little bit tiny, so I'm sorry for the people in the back. The Data and Automations Insights Campaigns tab. I'm going to close this over here. Let's see.
Yeah, we apologize. Our connection's been a little bit spotty, so we'll just give this a sec.
Oh, goody. Okay, so, it's loading. Here we go. I'm going to have to explain this via audio. All right, so with our dashboards, you're probably, if you have clicked through them, you're probably familiar with the general layout. We have the big KPI numbers at the top, and then it gets more granular further down. The specific visualization I want to highlight is the tables underneath, and I'm going to scroll down to the ongoing table. So the ongoing ones are going to be your workflow emails. And so I've had a few conversations so far this week about how to organize your emails, and one of the recommendations that I like to do is label it with like the year or version, so then year over year you can filter this dashboard, use our control bar at the top, and say, I want to compare the 2023 version 1 tours with the 2024 or 2022 version 1, version 2, whatever. So in this table, identifying very specific campaigns that are similar to each other and comparing and seeing those metrics, which one outperformed the other, And then going into that email and seeing, what were some of the things that stood out. Those things that stood out, you take it to your AI tools and say, build me this campaign, this is what's going on. Use this tone or mention this thing because you had success using those images, using that phrasing. So the insights one, you're able to kind of get that feedback of what was working, what was not, and then grow and learn from that.
Yeah, that's the cycle. You can use AI to generate more campaigns, do them faster, and get that data faster so that you can continue to improve. So briefly, I just want to explain a little bit about why this works so well and how we've kind of architected this to deliver great results for you. So you may remember we started on that slide showing the traditional campaign process. We showed how we've shortened it with Bolt AI. Under the hood, we're really doing a lot of the same things. It's just that we've designed and implemented specialty AI assistants that handle each of those jobs that used to require a human specialist. So we have a campaign assistant, we have a writer assistant, an art director, a designer, a photographer assistant, and finally a installer that's built on our PAX framework. And so these technologies all combine to do the job that used to require this team manually.
All right, so now some take-home items. Jot it down, here's your homework. All right, number one is obvious. Run more campaigns. Now that you're not having to go one by one, typing out subject lines, content, all the picking out pictures and branding, you have the flexibility to make a whole bunch more communications. My tip there is to educate and entertain. When I was talking with CMO, they had some really cool ideas that they've learned from podcasts and articles where maybe give them a gift. It doesn't have to be finish your application or attend this event. Mix it up a little bit to grab their attention. Like, hey, good luck with your finals week. Here's a playlist to get you through it. So you have the flexibility and time to get more creative and not just telling them to finish their application. The second recommendation is with all this free time, you're able to make campaigns for a very specific audience. Earlier I was practicing with it and saying, I want to increase awareness of 2 programs, 3 programs. Can you create different emails for those programs? And then right then and there, I have 3 versions where the skeleton, the structure of the email is the same, but then once you get into that paragraph, it's talking about that specific major. And you didn't have to do any of the extra work looking into those points on the program. The third one is what I kind of highlighted during the demo. Just use your insights and learn from your previous campaigns, what's working, what's succeeding, and use those features to build off of and make your future campaigns better. And then the last one is to mix your channels to give messages the best chance to break through. I was saying earlier, I avoid my inbox like the plague sometimes because those promotional emails are overwhelming. But when I get a text message, I think it's one of my friends, and I will flip my phone over immediately. I'll look at my watch and make eye contact with that message. So by sending the different variations, you might just get that student at the right time where they're like, oh, I'm going to actually look at this right now.
Yeah, and we're hoping to empower you with these tools to be able to communicate differently so you can break the mold of what you think a campaign has to be, what campaigns traditionally have been used for, and you can think of this as a really flexible, adaptable way to reach students at the right time with the right message. And if you have to send hundreds to reach that right person at the right time, you are now able and empowered to do that because the AI takes the bulk of the work away from that process. So with that, thank you. Thank you. We have a few minutes for questions, so we can fit in a couple questions. In the back.
Good morning, great product. John Evans, South Piedmont Community College. In this example, is the AI aware of prior outcomes when you're building campaigns? So as the institution wanted to reduce no-shows, but would it be able to look at prior attendance as it's building your campaign to understand sort of prior history of attendance?
Yeah, I don't think yet at that level of detail, but that's certainly the type of thing that we would like to build into in the future. Our goal is to make the AI tools aware of every single detail of what is going on with your institution and what has happened in the past so that it can make the best decisions. So yeah, stay tuned for more on that.
I apologize if my question is too basic because we do not have this yet. We're just getting ready to start. So with the example with the campaign and the senior and the parent, so we want the same theme and feel to the campaign, but we want one section of the messages to go to parents, one to go to students. So instead of it creating 3 messages, we would want 6. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. So there would be 2 main ways to do that. One would be you could design 2 totally separate campaigns, one that's targeted at parents and one that's targeted at the students, and it's about the same topic. The other would be you can do one campaign, but within the campaign editor, there's a way where you can personalize each section of the email depending on which audience the recipient is in. So if you have a segment of your parents and a segment of students, you can actually vary the email content. So, and you can choose between those based off of how closely you need them to match. But yeah, definitely possible, and happy to demo that for you as well later.
There's always like 3 or 4 ways to do something. You'll learn very fast.
So with lots of like little workflows running simultaneously, is there a way to make sure people don't get multiple messages in the same day? I don't know if other people are concerned about that, but I'm always worried about sending too much information.
For sure. So when it comes to worrying about those overlaps or getting 2 emails in one day, there are those delays, the relative delays that you can use on workflows where your relative delay is 1 day after the last email delivered. So you can kind of tweak when those emails go out. So it might not be Monday at 9 a.m. It might be they get the email a day later or so.
In the demo that you did, I'm just wondering about how student response figures into it. So obviously some of them are going to RSVP for the event, so you don't want to send them a time is running out, you need to RSVP message. How does that work?
Yeah, I guess you could use a segment to filter out attendees, I would think. So yeah, you'd have to set that up within the email to make sure that that case didn't happen. But yeah, that would be possible as well. Yeah, that would be even more advanced, but definitely possible too. Yeah, yeah. So you could kind of reroute it within the workflow based off whether they did ultimately register for that event or not. Yeah.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, any other?
All right, that's it for us.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Let's hear it for him. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.